of course, the staff at school. You have the teaching and the non-teaching staff.
Yes.
And we've seen also reports in papers that we stand a risk of actually about 30% of the teachers not going to report back to school. So you as Golden Balls, the director of Golden Balls,
Yes.
how prepared in terms of staffing? To what extent have you engaged your staff, and you're sure that yes, come January, you're not going to actually have loopholes, you're not going to have gaps in as far as staffing is concerned?
Yeah, first of all, when they talked about vaccination, we had to have a meeting to talk about it. How useful is it? How can we go about it? Because we found out that there were some staff that didn't have national ID. Remember, it is the national ID that was being used to vaccinate. So we had to look around to get to involve them in vaccination. After that, there are those ones who didn't have Nangamuntu. We had to talk to tell them, go there and explain to them that we don't have the national IDs, but we are ready for vaccination. They did it too. So with the vaccination, all the teachers and the non-teaching, we are at par. We have done what we are supposed to do.
You've done what is required.
Yes. Then again, there are some teachers who had lost hope. Like me, Mrs. Munga, I tried to call them. Somebody's a motorcyclist now. Others, as you have been showing them on the media, seeing them, this one is making charpats, these ones are making bricks, and the like. We had to call them back.
Yeah, definitely, and they were right.
And they were right.
Life has to move on.
Yes, and others, by the way, have gone abroad.
Yes, for
many.
Yes,
they have gone for Cheyo. Many.
For greener pastures.
Yes, because they were looking at, first of all, they lost hope. So these ones that are still around, we have to call them to show them. And I've been myself trying to talk to them, because we have different, we have the WhatsApp, we have different groups. I talk to them, I tell them that teaching, may I call it, is a calling. Because of all courses, I went for teaching. For your own information, I did my sciences. I wanted to be a doctor or a nurse or something of that kind. So, but at the end of all, I ended up in teaching. So it means it is a calling. So I call all the teachers who have lost hope that this one maybe it's that God made us to be teachers, that at the end of all, maybe it's where we shall get the paradise.
That's true.
Yeah, because, and again, this profession sometimes, there is the way it makes us, unless you are not a teacher, because teaching is also, you can find me, I'm a teacher maybe naturally. I feel happy when I see my children playing. I feel happy when I see a child, they have brought a child, like a pastor we have been having nursery. They bring a child who cannot even write a ball. You teach the child how to write a ball, you teach them those 9 symbols. A person for a full month, a person who could not even manage to write even a standing stick, a sleeping stick, a carve in. You find out that child, you have taught the 9 symbols, and the child can be able now to write the name. Nti Amoti, Buyungu, using the 9 symbols. So I end up feeling that it is maybe the profession I feel happy. Sometimes I sit, when we sat the 2 years, I used to ask my children, but what else can I do? I tried to check myself. Is there any other thing I can do apart from teaching? Yes, there is. But if they open up schools, I feel like I'm happy. I feel like I'm eager to give this service to my children.
Well, that said, Harriet Zamzam,
Yes.
let's look at, because you are also a counselor
Yes.
for children and teachers
And families.
families.
Yes.
And of course now, Christmas is just around the corner.
Very.
The festive season is just around the corner.
Yeah.
Christmas, New Year, and then Christmas, Boxing Day, and then the New Year.
Yeah.
And now schools are opening in early January.
Yeah.
What message do you have for the parents? Because ideally, reopening of schools comes with its own costs.
Yeah.
And equally, the festive season comes with its own course.
expenses. Yeah. Before the parents, I would like to advise our children. Remember, they have been at home for some good 2 years. They are those ones that they have, at least the other lockdown, Christmas was not celebrated because most of us were at home. Now I beg the girls and boys, please settle home. Don't go out for outing, for anything. Stay home, so that at least by 10th Jan, you are organized, you are well prepared to go for school. Then our dear parents, please don't overspend. I don't know, somebody can say maybe because I'm a Muslim, but if you look at here in Kampala or in towns, every day you can't spend 3 days minus eating rice. Rice, Irish, matoke, meat, chicken, those things we have been seeing them. I beg you, you don't spend a lot. You buy meat, chicken, rice, Irish, matoke. You prepare a lot. Because in Christmas, most of the neighbors, they do prepare. It is hard to find somebody when he has not prepared. So you prepare all of that, you eat. The stomachs are not going to enlarge. You are going to consume what you have been consuming all the time. So why don't you economize? You say, if we have chicken, why should we again buy meat? Why? Yeah. So it will help you to be economic. You spend little, you keep money for the schools. Because whether you want or not, what you can give your children is education. That's one. Two, the schools have been down for 2 years.
For 2 years, that's true.
I don't want parents to say that. Then again, the schools are harassing us. They don't allow children when you have not paid something. They are right.
No, of course, we've had the government calling upon school owners, school managers, not to hike.
Yeah.
Not to hike actually the school fees, and also not to exaggerate the requirements as it has been in the past. Yes, as one who's managing a private school, what is your take on this?
I can advise the parents. And by the way, a director and a married, that Buyongo is for my husband. So I have children. My firstborn was in senior 5. So meaning I'm also paying some school fees somewhere there. So parents, first of all, take the children in the school that you can manage. It will look fake and quick and weird, a child to go to school 3 weeks, then she or he is sent back home for fees. Please look for the schools that you can manage. Yes, because people have been in big schools where they are paying $1 million. Their jobs, their businesses collapsed, some of them. Their businesses are not as well as they were at first. So can you please look for the school you can manage? Then again, my fellow teachers or head teachers and the like, don't put the money up, because parents, and now it's the time where we should not again hijack, because people don't have money. But again, still, I'm urging the parents, because the reason why a parent is taking the child to school is to understand, is to learn and get the certificates. Look for the school, so long as the school has this, you say that the child will perform from here. Please go in the school you will manage, because it will not look okay. You go to the basa, you quarrel
all the time.
All the time.
Yeah, but also government is calling upon managers of schools that you should tolerate, be lenient, because some of the, because for example, a child, for example, my son or daughter has been going to Golden Balls.
Yes.
And just because of COVID, I lost my source of income. And I feel perhaps I'm not as able as I was, but I feel I can struggle and pay.
So we shall allow them to pay in installment. Though there are some things that are not, it is not easy, like a transport. There are people who have been living, somebody lives at this area, then the child goes early morning with the school van. The fuel, you have seen, it is up.
The prices for fuel are up.
Yes, and you can find that the school has nowhere it will go and say, please borrow me. give me fuel we shall bring. So you can, that's why I'm urging parents to look for the way of solving the problems. Mukwano, there is where you can know that the things are defeating me. If you have been, for example,
there's where you actually
agree.
accept defeat.
Yes.
And so that I think here I need to move my children one to a nearby school.
Yes.
A cheaper school.
Yes.
That one can afford.
You can find out that you will find that where we have been asking, for example, 200,000 transport, we can ask for 400. Agree with me. When you add 400 only for transport, you can get a nearby school whereby the 400 will consider the food, the fees. I think it is better.
Hajat, there has always been a complaint from the parents and of course even observers that private schools, instead of actually supplementing government in providing education for the sons and daughters of this country, you've actually turned it into business. For example, when the term begins, the requirements are kind of abnormal. A child of P1 taking a RIMO 2, child of P1 taking about 20 rolls of toilet paper. One wonders what for.
Yeah, but some things, I can't say that it is not there, but if you find a person like Mrs. Wiyongo, why should I ask for a RIM every time? It has 500, a P1
child, yes.
Yeah, some they have been doing maybe, but for me as the Mrs. Wiyongo, moreover a religious lady, there is, by the way, me at my school, I don't ask those requirements. I tell you, we are going to pay this amount of money, including, why should we ask for a dozen of books when the child is going to use 6 books?
No, it's a P1.
A P1 child.
May not even use the 6.
Yes, can use 4 or 5. Okay, 6. Because if it gets over, you have to, you will not get a pen again, send a book. But we normally, me at my school at least, I've tried to make the school as community school. Community schools, and that's why I normally telling the parents, go at the school. You can ask how, if you go to the school and they tell you you are not supposed to see where the children are sleeping. That one you should question. If you go there and they say here it's the dormitory for boys, here it's a dormitory for girls, I think you can. The parents right now, they are supposed to go to the schools. And look at the school. If this school will teach my children and the child passes PRE, I don't think you need to make the child travel big distances. You put the child in the school you will not manage. Because what is important is what is the child going to achieve in that school. PRE, everybody will ask, is this second grade or a first grade? They will not ask, this person is having a first grade. Which buildings did she or he go through? Was the school having big buildings? We are after what the child is picking.
You know the English saying, a healthy body is a healthy mind.
Yeah.
We tend to attribute or think that good structures translate into good academics.
There is a song my children normally sing that it is in Luganda. Nti wadde nga tolina bizimbe bye bya fulati omutindo gw'oyina maama gusinga byonna golden ball omwagalwa. Meaning whether you don't have those flats, kalina, those big buildings, but the quality. Dear parents, please look for the quality of the school. Because you will find out that the child, you can put the child in a school. What matters, has the child learned how to read?
No, but you see, first impression matters. And, normally, first impression is visual. What we see, we think, well, that translates into...
Now it is high time to go through and don't judge the book according to the cover. Open what is inside. So what is inside is that school. Go and ask if you are, for example, on Buloba or you are at Bunamwaya. Ask the border cyclists. Those border cyclists, they have good information. That I have had a school called Golden Balls. Teacher, dear cyclist, how is it? So that you don't take your child in a school where she is going to fail or he is going to fail. But he is going to excel academic-wise. Let us consider what the child is going to get through that school.
Well, as a teacher and a counselor, you
Yeah.
know that education is not all about good grades, not all about passing exams,
Yeah.
but it is also about the morals. It is also about character, shaping of character. So how much are you, especially at primary level, because we're seeing that one, definitely this is the foundation,
Yeah,
primarily.
matters a
You
lot.
have to shape somebody's character, but also instilling in them the culture of hardworking.
Yeah. What I normally tell my teachers, even the parents when I call them, that nursery, that is nursery up to primary 3, that is where the child has to learn how to read a syllable, a sound. Those things, if the child leaves that stage, when she or he has not learned how to read, and if it is in Uganda, can read that salamu, bukede, masaka, UBC television. The child must learn that between nursery and primary 3, because primary 4 we are preparing the child to pass the PLE. Then again down there, the good thing with these kids, what you put in them, it's what they go with. You tell them before eating, you must pray. Before sleeping, here is the prayer for sleeping. Before coming, getting your bag, entering the school van, entering daddy's car to go to school, you must recite this prayer. They will learn. If you have if somebody opens for you or the bottle or gives you tea or anything, please say thank you. After the teacher giving the service, say, teacher, thank you for your service. Thank you, teacher, for disciplining us. After giving us, if it is an assembly, after talking to them that I want this now from the holidays, or you are going for the holidays, when you go back home, clean the toilets, clean the house, clean mommy's shoes, you can prepare juice at home. You tell them, after telling them, tell them, say thank you. We are training them that you have to be humble. If somebody is brought to me, has beaten the friend, I tell him, why have you beaten so and so? Don't beat the friend. If somebody disturbs you, go and report to the teacher. You will find it here in ONC. We normally have 2 teachers in the class. Why? When one teacher is on the blackboard explaining, this one is moving around. Who is beating a friend? Who is not concentrating? This roving teacher is helping these young ones. Yes. Cut his door. After the lesson, he talks that so-and-so, Michael, you like disturbing your friends. Don't disturb your friends during the lesson, okay? You teach them those morals. You teach them that before we eat, we have to recite a prayer. Oh, Lord God, bless our eats. Or if it is if they are Muslims, they also have their dua, Bismillah and the like. So we try, because what I found out, that these kids, we stay with them for some good time. Than the parents. You see, that's why you can end up again giving our credit as teachers. So I tell them, come back and we teach. Parents have been with their children for 2 years, but you have seen pregnancy, refusing to go back to school because of Kupota and the like. But when boys getting spoiled, girls and the like, putting on minis, moving as if naked, but the schools have their rules. And I have seen that really, I appreciate my fellow teachers for the wonderful work you have been giving to our society, to our children. The years we have been with the children, the spoiling was not as much as they are with their parents. Yeah,
definitely. The pandemic has taught us the hard way and told us exactly the role of a teacher, the role of schools in society, especially not only in academics, but also keeping the children safe, because ideally when you look at the rate at which students were getting pregnant when schools were on is lower than actually what we've really witnessed. Now, of course, that said, there is an issue that was raised by the ministry, by government, the compulsory promotion, and so much that actually we see some are even going to skip some
classes. Yeah.
One was in P1. Now the person is supposed to begin from primary thing. And now this calls for teachers to fill the gap.
Yeah.
So you as proprietors, how ready are you for this? So that really, yes, even if we see that students have been made to jump some steps, but that gap should be filled academic-wise.
Yeah, I was talking to my teachers. Then we said that since these kids are already now 6 years, remember 6 years, the other time we have been teaching them up to lunch. So it means since again they have sat home 2 years, we are going to make remedial lessons. That somebody studies from morning up to lunch, we get lunch, then after we go for remedial lessons. Because what I see with this, where the problem is, it's reading. Dear my parents, dear teachers, and all well-wishers, please let us focus on teaching these children how to read. If a child, because I've been with the school for, it would be 10 years now, if a child fails to learn how to read, to spell, to interpret the question, however much you are going to push the child will not make primary 7 well. So we are going to make those remedials. We are going to again get maybe like a Saturday. If the teacher, and I'm calling up parents upon parents, if the teacher finds out that the child, there is something that she is not well conversant with, whether reading or numbers, parents, please befriend the teachers, because they will tell you that Tata Chimbugwe is not okay with reading. How do you see if you send Chimbugwe on Saturday? That one day you can think it is small, but it can help. So it means now the parents have to befriend, they have to go to school. It is the school to decide. Ministry is saying jumping, but now you can find out the child has sat 2 years, was in primary 1.
And it's supposed now to start from primary.
Primary over 3, yes. I don't know. Now, this one can affect the child if the parent doesn't involve in the teachers. Because now, like for me, I have made some books purposely for reading, because I know a child can understand numbers, a child can understand English, but the reading, because most of these parents who have been helping the children, they are teaching them ba baby bobu. But after telling the child ba baby bobu, when you are reading the word bus, you don't say bus. Gagegi go gu. When you are reading the word gun, you don't say gun. I see. Ma me mi momu. When you are reading the word must, you don't say must. So that's where again the schools have to come in. Until the child, the parent has done us something, they have helped their children, but again there is where they cannot help, like those syllables of after telling the child a, e, o, u, when you are reading the word up, you don't say whoop. So it means now these parents, they have to come. By the way, it is good if you are taking the child to home, I mean school, go with what you have been. You said, teacher, here is some work we have been helping. This one will help the child or the teacher to help the children. I normally tell the parents and the teachers that teaching the child is like when you get a maid from my place, my home village or district, Chiboga. The maid has never done anything. You ask, have you ever mopped? Do you know how to prepare matoke? Yes.
So you're talking about mopping. It's the first time they are seeing a tiled house.
Yes.
They are seeing a cemented house.
Yes. So you do, what do? You say, do you know how to mop? Automatically she will say, yes, I can mop. Okay, mop and I see. So this is where the parent has to bring the child to me as a teacher. Then I ask, do you know the syllables? Do you know the sounds? Do you know the numbers? You give that so-called interview that the parents don't want it now. They said, they said they should go. But interviewing the parent, or I mean the child, is like interviewing the maid. It will help the teacher to know that this person, she's good here. Here she's half-baked. Then here she's totally off. So dear parents, don't refuse the interviews for our dear learners. We have to interview them so that we get a starting point, like the maid.
There are some private schools that have actually indicated that they are not in position to reopen come January, because you could be among the lucky few private schools that are more than ready to open. So for the private schools that really are not able to open, perhaps you as a colleague in the sector, in the business, how do you guide them? How should they go about this? And perhaps how should they work with government? How should they work with other development partners? Because ideally, when a school closes, it means a number of people losing jobs. Not only the teachers and the teaching and non-teaching staff, but even people who are supplying.
The books, the posho, the
beans, the construction. So
even in water, even in power, the power we use.
Even power. So there are a number of people who are really actually going to be affected by that. So in this particular case, what would be your advice?
Yeah, they are, and by the way, there are those who cannot come out. Reason, they were renting. That one everybody knows. That the landlord turned their things, they could not also bear 2 years.
When their premises are doing nothing.
Then again, there are those ones I have heard, because a certain colleague of mine called me and told me, Madam Zamzam, you know what? I have my children. I have been with a number of parents are telling me, our school closed because they are seeing that the buildings are no longer there. Others were taken by the money lenders and the like. So they are telling me, says, can I sell your my children to you? Somebody has, there are some parents who are really, they are trusting, they entrust their children, the only person they know is their missus. So I'm advising those ones, look for a nearby school, you can give in your children. Then, and if, for example, somebody brings the children to my school, let us, our dear directors and the like, we talk to them, we give them some money over their children. Because again, mobilizing children in Mkwano, and somebody interests, like now Mrs. people know Mrs. Buyungo, a parent will call, hello Mrs. Where should we take the children? Since you got a problem, they know that the school has got a problem. I pray, I thank God, it alhamdulillah, Rabbil Alameen, my all 3 branches, we are still in existence. And
you're still in existence, and how did you make it? And how did you do it so that also others can share your experience? Yeah,
first of all, I thank God that I was not renting.
But there are those that are not renting and they are not able to open.
Then too, me as a Muslim, other religions, they are allowed to take that money from the bank. Loans. But for me, Muslims who are viewing, who are watching this UBC right now, for us, you know what it means by riba. Riba, it is that money, it is that loan. We are not totally even allowed to be near it. So me, myself, I didn't come near it.
You didn't go for loans?
I didn't go for loans because in our religion it is said when you go in for loan, it's like getting the shield, getting a spear. God is there, you are Allah, and you are standing and they start saying, me says, pierce Allah. Then Allah pierces you. Do you think you can win your God? You cannot. So Muslims who are listening, who are viewing, if you are really, the Quran is your holy book, please leave the riba. Yes, that one made most of the people to go.
Yeah, but let's get times loans are unavoidable.
Yes.
For example, you have the land, you have the students, you have the support of the parents, and indeed you really need to put up structures.
Yeah.
Yes, so you need money to really have the structures put in place.
But that one for us as Muslims, it is not there. That, you know, my wife was badly off, going to produce, they asked for a million I didn't have, then I borrowed it. We are supposed to wake up at 9 at night, then you 3 at midnight, you wake up and call your God.
And you pray.
And you pray. That is the only solution. They don't tell you that there is, unless somebody says, you know, let me give you 1 million. In turning, you bring again 1 million. Maybe under another thank you, bunch of matoke and the coke. But paying back
the interest.
The interest, we are totally off.
Well, still UBC TV and this education forum, looking at the way forward, of course, looking at how prepared other players, especially from the private sector in as far as reopening of schools is concerned. Remember that for 2 years now running, actually the operation of schools has always been on and off just because of the COVID-19 pandemic that has affected and infected actually the normal operations of the education sector. Yes, back to you, Harriet,
yes.
Zamzam, because these are some of the issues. I see you're very, very religious, which is very good.
Yes.
Yes, well-fashioned Muslim lady. Now let's look at religion. Of course, the religion and the role of religious institutions, how they should come in to help, faith-based institutions actually, how they should come in to help, because ideally, when you look at the history of Uganda, there is no way you can talk about education without bringing in the faith-based institutions, religious institutions, because ideally most of the schools, about 60 or so % of the schools are owned by them. So let's look at the role of religion as we try to reopen our schools. Yes.
As a Muslim lady, we are more than prepared, because what I know with everybody who is viewing us, when you give everything to your Lord, you say, Allah, you gave me this school. I pray you, help me, God. That is the way we normally talk to him. God, help me, and I open up so that parents can bring the money. Because you can find out, by the way, even in these institutions, or you can even have some good parents, because they have money. You are going to come and to go to a parent and tell him, do you know what? We are totally off. We have no anything that will make us to stand. Can you please help us? They know. You can end up getting help from those religious leaders, Muslims, fellow Muslims. Somebody cannot be a religious leader. She's a Muslim with the Iman. She knows how to help, because we are also told to help others. Then if, for example, the school has been totally off, the buildings we are taken, if you can get nearby, because since we have somebody has been renting, can have other rentals.
Other places where
where she or he can, because I feel sympathetic to them. Banange correcting children, convincing the parents that the Golden Balls, it is the only school in Ibunamayangobe. Then another branch will put it at Buloba. Please bring the children. We are good in English. That's why we are called the school of grammar. It is not easy.
Well, another issue that because you also raised that issue of course, mobilizing parents to give you their children to study from your school is actually not easy.
Not easy.
Yes, it comes with a lot of hard work. Yeah, but let's look at now the teachers, because ideally you get credit from the teachers. So the work that is done by the teachers that translates into the passing of students that actually attracts. So let's look at how do teachers report? Because we've had scenarios where in some schools, teachers reporting without shoes, teachers reporting with actually, let me see, how do I put it? With clothes they are not torn. They are not supposed to appear. They are not supposed to wear before the students. So let's look at schools. How do they facilitate their teachers, so that on the opening day, actually teachers are not scarecrows to the
because
children.
You can find it out, like now at my school. My schools, we normally have uniforms.
For teachers?
For teachers.
Okay.
The gentlemen, they have their trousers. We have uniforms of every day. Until Monday, this Tuesday, up to Friday. Now, those clothes, you can't say that they are now fitting them. You can't say that they are now okay. 2 years, the shirt is not pulled out and, a t-shirt. So it means now we have to buy for them. I can also advise, because since it is a school.
Now schools that do not have such arrangement like uniforms for teachers.
What they are going to do, they are going, because I know since we have started now, there are some things we say that they are very urgent. Now, like clothing of the teachers is an urgent issue. So what we are going to do, when parents bring for registration, some parents have started now putting their money on the accounts like that. The schools, the director, the head teacher, they must call these parents, these teachers. Let us give them some area. you can't buy clothing. Because again, since we have been disrespected, because the fact is, the kids we are going to handle, they have already disrespected us after seeing us making chapat.
Yes,
bricks
in bricks. No, but I also have a feeling that it's not being disrespecting you, because ideally it is one way of telling children that if your teacher can work, you also need to work.
Yep.
Just like your parent at home could work, equal also the teacher. There's no harm in that.
Yeah,
I think the pandemic has taught us to live a natural life. Not an artificial life. Yes, that when you find a teacher working, actually teachers must not feel shy that because they are making chapatis, they shouldn't shy away from laying bricks or making bricks. Yes.
But the media, the way it used to bring in, it wasn't. It was demoralizing, abasomesa, you know, that thing, there is a way it made the teachers not feel okay. But this pandemic has made us, because as me as a counselor, I was not doing the counseling so much. I was so in the schools. But when time came, I ended up, because families were breaking so much, some people started knowing that there is Mchala who can talk to you. Mrs.
Who is the family counselor?
Counselor, yes, I'm a family counselor, children. Even if the parents have been bringing their children, Mrs. talk to so and so. Are you aware that kids starting with 14 years have refused it, that they are not going back to school?
Well, because some of them actually are into money making.
Yes.
And now they feel going to school is a waste of time. And now this brings us to your other, of course, your other skill, that is as a family counselor. Some families have fallen apart. The mother, the wife and the husband are no longer staying together, and now here
and the separation of the mother and father
has
normally affects
the children. Yes. So there's so much that some of them actually may not report to school, because now it is going to be tricky. A woman who's not staying with the father, going to tell the father, please now we need fees for the children. Yeah,
and some mothers, when they are going to their villages, they go with the children.
They go with children.
That's why we have tried to send messages to them as schools. You call those parents. When you see that the so and so's parent has not appeared, you make a call. Hello, Tata Chivumbi. This is Mrs. Bingo calling. What is it, dear? You know, His Excellency, you know, the Minister of Education and Sports said we are going to open up 10th January. How prepared is Chivumbi? Dear directors, teachers, start communicating to your parents. Parents also start looking for the teachers, because this is the situation whereby that the parent has to come and see Mrs. We have been paying 250 a term. Can you please reduce on me? We are ready for that. So we are calling them, go to your school earlier, so that when you see that they are not ready to talk to you, they are not ready to help you, then you look where you look for your ways. We were paying 800. Even there are those people who were in senior 2. They studied there. The people are complaining. We had paid. Go there. Talk to them. For us, we had paid.
Yes, and you also brought up the issue, because there was a time when students reported for only 2 weeks, and again we went back to the lockdown. Some parents had paid, and the government has been very clear that actually those who had paid should not be made to pay again. Yes, your take on this?
That's why I want these parents to go to their schools, because even in myself, you remember we had a program, a plan of opening. I think it was June.
Yes, just the students who had reported for only 2 weeks, and then they
and even for us P1, P2, P3, they had said in June. June. Some parents had paid their money. So in fact, I called them. I told them those who had paid, others had paid half. You will just complete. Those who had paid full, these kids are not going to pay. Because again, if the schools, or if we were to talk to these parents, talk to them in a very organized way, in a humble way, in a requesting way. To dear parents, you paid your money, but the fact is, we really used that money. Can we postpone that term for second term, that money, so that you give us, because now we need to give some teachers to go and buy shoes, to go and buy clothing. you talk to those parents. There are those ones who can listen. There are those ones who will say, we are tired of the teachers. There are those who will say, the fact is, they have been home for 2 years. So please, directors and head teachers, call your parents, new and old. Have a meeting with them, because you can find out that there are some schools, for example, if you have been teaching from nursery to primary 3, are you aware that those kids who are in primary 1, all of them are supposed to go to other schools where there is a P fund they like. So it means this is the director, this is the head teacher that is supposed to call these parents. You come on the table. Parents, we are going to come on the table.
Yes, Hajat, I can see really time is not on our side. But my question is, for example, do you only do counseling for parents that bring children to your school, or you actually even counsel those parents that do not really?
I counsel those, even if it is a program like on UBC, you call Mrs. Buyungu, come and talk to the children that are going to go back to school. I do.
Or counseling for families?
Yes, counseling families. In fact, I counsel. There are some families that are in their marriage because of Mrs. Moreover, over this time of pandemic, I've been doing the counseling for children and the families, because the breaking was too much due to the mother being too near to the father, for the father losing the job, for the mother losing the job. So we have to come back. So if you have counseling, even those who are having children, when they are saying, Mommy, I am not going back to school. After all, I have got money. I have a phone of 400,000. Please bring those children, because education is the best. I talk to them, and our dear kids, children, pupils, students, don't leave the school unless you need to do so.
Well, thank you very much. Yes, I would request that you look into the camera.
All right.
And the viewers, especially the Ugandans, the young and the old, your message as we prepare to reopen the schools, of course, as we also go into this festive season. Yeah.
Parents, please organize our children. If you see the child is having some ways of not want to go back, look from Chala Buyungu, Mrs. Buyungu. I'm ready to give you that service. And dear students, please go back to school. Go back to school. I don't want you to regret after 5 years now. Then our dear teachers, please come back to normal. Go back. If you are, for example, your school is no longer in existence, go and look for another job from the school. We are there, we are here, we are created to give a service to the Ugandans. And dear parents, all Ugandans, Golden Balls as a school, we are ready to give you the best service. That's why we are called the School of Grammar. Can I give them my telephone number?
No, well, we shall give them the number. They will come here to UBC.
Yeah, you come to UBC, you get my number, you bring your children to Golden Balls. I remain Mrs. Wingo Zamzam. Please bring the children. And mother, please, we normally need a lot when we upbring our children. We normally do a lot in upbring our children. If we had separated, if you had gone this way, please come back to normal for the betterment of your daughters and sons. Please and please, fathers, take care of your children. To be a good father, you must pay school fees. Well, thank you very much.
Well, I must thank you very much, Hajat Zamzam Buyungo, a counselor for children and families, also director of the Golden Balls schools. Definitely, it is said that charity begins at home, but it does not end at home. Therefore, the 2 years children have been at home, parents have actually tried their best, and now it's time also schools and teachers should actually also play their role in reshaping them so as to give them a very good future. Here at UBC, through this education forum, we discuss on ways and how best we can better our education. Mandakola Mzima is my name, wishing you a blessed evening, Merry Xmas, and a Happy New Year.
Akili, Akili, this is Akili. She has a secret. Tell us.